First of all, let's talk about what I might describe as diversity derangement syndrome, DDS. Let's call it that. It's a kind of form of right-on madness. Now, there are 800, count them, 800 diversity and inclusivity and equality officers in the NHS. 800. There's a new job just being advertised by Derbyshire NHS Foundation Trust. What is that? Why do they always call it Derbyshire NHS Foundation Trust? It's a job advert for a job in a hospital. That's what it is, but God knows what all this is. But anyway, the NHS is advertising a bumper salary, £80,000 a year, for the role of Head of Equality, Diversity and Inclusion at Kingsway Hospital. According to the job ad, the successful applicant will, and I quote, champion new ways of thinking and hearing the voices of our people and local population to improve equitable, diverse and inclusive experiences for all. What? By the way, of course, this job involves flexible working. That means not really working from home. This is getting mad, isn't it? So much public money being wasted on diversity officers. Let's talk to Executive Director of the Henry Jackson Society, Dr. Alan Mendoza. Welcome, Alan. I mean, what are we going to do about this? It gets worse by the day. Don't forget there are 60 diversity officers at the Ministry of Defence. These people are costing us the best part of £4 million a year. They call themselves protecting the protectors. That's the Ministry of Defence. Throughout the public sector, we are wasting zillions of pounds. I mean, tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions on diversity officers. I'm not saying that it's not a good idea to maybe have one or two here and there, but 800 in the NHS, now a new one for another £80,000 a year. It's a form of insanity, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly a form of spending money that we don't have. I mean, we've been told, haven't we, constantly, there is no money, there is no money, there is no money, but it appears there is money for positions like this, as opposed to frontline care that, of course, people, have been paying for and want. That's the whole purpose of the NHS. And really, I agree with you. Look, diversity, one or two people, it's a value to me. 800, what are they actually looking for at that point? It becomes almost like, is there enough diversity within the diversity officers in order for us to, have a few more here and there? And it's a crazy thing at the best of times, and these are not the best of financial times. And frankly, we need to refocus, don't we, on what is actually important and what needs to be at the core, which is, in the NHS at least, service to the people of this country.
And it's the way we value these jobs. I mean, in the Ministry of Defence and the Foreign Ministry, Department of Trade, civil servants doing very important work, actually forging the deals that keep this country vaguely prosperous, actually making the deals with foreign countries, foreign companies for the benefit of this government. Their average salary is something like between £30,000 and £50,000 a year. The average salary of diversity officers is considerably more. It's between 50 and 80. So there's something wrong about the way we value these jobs.
Yes, I mean, again, that's another very valid point. It's I read an article this morning, for example, that did indeed point out that, one of these trade or heads of department for Poland would be getting under half the amount that this post that you've highlighted in an NHS foundation will be getting. And does that make any sense, given the importance, obviously, of relations with a country like Poland and its sort of trade focus? Are we really getting the best people there, as opposed to on the diversity side? So yes, why are we, kind of valuing these roles in this way when it's obvious that something, that is sort of forward-facing and which brings actual tangible benefits is better than, frankly, bureaucracy that will just lead to more form-filling, won't it?
Yeah, and I would not advocate getting rid of all 800 NHS diversity officers, but shall we say, let's think about this. get rid of about 750 of them. Now, that money that we save there could go towards, I don't know, call me controversial, hiring doctors and nurses, the kind of people who treat patients, you know, sort of what the NHS is supposed to do. I mean, I'm just throwing that idea out there. Is that a bit much? Am I going too far?
I think it's very radical, and I think you might need some diversity thinking for this very dangerous line of thought here. No, but you know, obviously, I think if you were to ask most people, they'd say, yes, there's a role for diversity, but if we have to choose between diversity officers or frontline care, I think we'll take the frontline care, thank you very much. And that makes sense. You know, let's make another point as well. You know, diversity is important for any, you know, kind of business. We all understand that. Nobody wants just one way of thinking or one way of customer or one way of, you know, kind of behaving. But again, that should really be the focus of everyone in the industry, rather than hiring specific people, as it were, to go and say, we've got to have diversity and we're going to enforce it in this way. Look, it happens organically. People recognise it's better. It reflects who we are as a country. We get on with it in that way. That's always been our way, rather than being told top down, that's how you're going to do it.
This is a difficult question, because I'm damned if I could answer it myself, Alan. Do you have any idea what diversity, inclusivity and equality officers actually do?
No, but I bet it's bureaucratic in nature, and I bet it involves lots of forms. I can tell you, Kev, there'll be a lot of forms that are there, and a lot of asking people lots of questions about, you know, what box they might fit in, so that they can have a perfect sort of scoring record to say, I've got X of this, X of Y of that, Z of that. I'm pretty sure that's what it means.
Indeed. Well, can we park diversity for a while? I just don't think I can bear to talk about it anymore. What is your take, Alan, as a man concerned with international affairs, on Labour's decision to limit arms sales to Israel in what might be described as Israel's darkest hour of need, and at a time when that nation, I would suggest, needs our friendship, needs our traditional alliance with it. I mean, what are you making of this? Because I was discussing earlier with Trevor Kavanagh from The Sun that a lot of observers of Westminster are suspecting that this is the spectre of traditional Labour anti-Semitism rearing its ugly head again.
Well, I think, look, there are three things to say about this. Let's look at the international factors first. Two of those. Number one, Israel's an ally. We've said it's an ally. We've been telling everyone it's an ally. We defended it against Iran a few months ago to show and prove it was an ally. How do you then dump your allies in it by deciding that you're going to restrict arms sales to them?